So I wanted to come on here real quick today to talk about what I experienced over the last couple of days, because I've been fighting with the weather, trying to make my film, all winter. And I finally got to shoot for 2 straight days for the first time all winter. Like, I had 2 cloudy days with a little bit of rain, and it looked the way I wanted it to look, even though I didn't have snow, but I had, no leaves on the trees. Everything was kind of stark, and it was dark, and it was beautiful, and I loved the way it looked, so I got to go out there and shoot. And I had to change locations. Like, there was a lot of complications. But anyway, what I want to talk about was, this is the first time that I felt like I was really, truly using this Panasonic S5. Like, I bought this thing in October. I have used it every single day since I got it. Like, I have shot literally every day, and excuse if the light is going up and down. I don't have auto ISO on, and I'm out here in the wild. So anyway, I've had this camera since October, and I've shot with it every single day, and I've been making a lot of YouTube videos, obviously, and I've been practicing, and I have been shooting some stuff for my film, but not a lot. But the last couple of days were the first days where I went out there, and I actually had a lot of pressure to get the stuff done, because I had to deal with my audio myself. I had to deal with critical focus. I had to deal with my exposure. I had to deal with everything with this camera, and I was all by myself. Like, nobody else was there. I was the actor, I was the director, I was the cinematographer, I was the sound person, I was everything. And so I feel like this was the first day that I really, really learned about this camera, and I really understood how amazing it is. And it's funny how the light just rised as I said that, but this camera is amazing. Like, the shots that I got, first of all, working in Vlog is so much easier than S-Log 2. At least, I was using a Sony a6400, so I was shooting S-Log 2 all the time, which was 8-bit, and so it was much harder to manipulate the exposure once I got it into DaVinci Resolve. I got a handle on it eventually, and I was able to do it really well. And, actually, I said in a video a long time ago that when I finally mastered S-Log 2, I felt like I actually got a new camera with that Sony a6400. But I got to tell you, Vlog in these Panasonic cameras is so easy. Like, I use the waveform most of the time for my exposure. I look at my zebras a little bit, but mostly I use the waveform. And, even if I get in the neighborhood of correct, I just make sure I'm not clipping on top or the bottom, my highlights or my shadows. Once I get into the software, it's really, really easy. I could just, stretch out the image, and, then I could just mess with it a little bit with my curves, and, I could use the included LUT if I want to, but usually I don't even use a LUT. I just get in there and work with the curves and, work with stretching out the image, and it just comes out perfect every single time. Like, as long as I get my white balance correct when I'm shooting, oh my God, I love this image so much, So what else was cool? The other thing that was really amazing, so obviously I have the original S5, not the S5 Mark II. I almost forgot. I use this incredible tripod on my shoot as well. It was called a Rokkor AVTH 72-inch, and it was cheap as anything. I think when I bought it, it cost me like around $50 or something like that. It might feel like a toy to some people, but it really, really did a great job the other day. I've been using it for a long time, but I originally bought it for my phone. That's what it was for. It was kind of made for that. But the ball head is really good. The friction on it for movement, for panning and things like that, really, really good. Not like a thousands and thousands and thousands dollar worth tripod, of course, but still really, really usable, and I would say, above average. Also, it gets really, really high, 72-inch, obviously, really solid. The only problem that I did have with it, it didn't have one of those bowls, I had to adjust the level using the legs, which was kind of annoying sometimes. But did an amazing job. I didn't bring it in here to show it to you because it's just covered in mud. It's dirty as anything, and I just didn't feel like bringing it into my apartment. But I was really happy with it. It is feather light, like so easy to carry around. Just, you could throw it in the backpack, you could attach it to your backpack, you could just carry it. It's just, literally, it just feels like nothing. It's so light. I'll leave a link in the description. I don't have affiliate links or anything like that, so it's just really for your benefit. But I'm going to look into affiliate links though. That's a great idea, but I don't have them yet. But anyway, I'll put a link for this in the description. And really, it did a great job with the Panasonic S5. I was very impressed with it. I was able to get really high, really low to the ground, move it around easily, adjust it easily. It dealt with high wind really, really well, which was surprising to me because I was about to buy a Kyer tripod because I read a lot about it, seen a lot of videos on it. Looks like a good, affordable, heavy-duty tripod. And I'm doing some stuff by the ocean and, out near these waterfalls and in the city. It just, a lot of crazy locations. So I felt like I would need something a little bit more solid. But I didn't get it, and I went up to the shoot the other day and I brought this tripod with me, and it did an excellent, excellent job. So will I still buy the Kyer? Probably, because I'm getting ready to do a documentary next year, and this year, later in the year. And I just feel like if I show up with a tripod that looks like that, it might not be great for somebody who's actually giving me money. But I'm telling you, this tripod that I'm looking at here on the screen, which you can't see, but I will provide the link, like I said, I was so happy with it. So easy to use, and really added to the shoot. So yeah, just wanted to add that, and let's get back to the video. So I don't really use autofocus that much, but I shot with my Sigma 28-70 f2.8 lens all day for the last couple of days because I wanted to have that kind of flexibility. I knew that I was working around the rain, and so I had to come in and out, and so I wanted to use what I felt was the fastest thing to use. And so I only shot at 28 millimeters or 50 millimeters. Maybe there were a couple of shots where I went to 35, but I would say 95% of what I did was either 28 or 50. And what was amazing was that I have everything set to manual focus. I have the lens set to manual, have my camera set to manual, but I still can use that button on the back of the S5 to get critical focus. Like I can, expand the image in my monitor, and I love this monitor too, by the way. I have no problems. I didn't use an external monitor at all. So I can magnify, because you have that function to get your, to get your focus peaking. And so I expanded the picture. I looked at it. I was able to just push that button on the back of the S5 to, latch on to what the big subject was inside of that magnification box. And, I was shooting mostly at like anywhere between f8 and f11 for most of my stuff, because I'm not, my faster aperture work is more close-up kind of stuff, more dialogue, more, meaningful, emotional parts of the, everything is meaningful and emotional, but you know what I mean, like the heightened stuff in the story is when I'm thinking more about a blurry background. But generally, I'm trying to get the deepest focus that I possibly can. Like I'm trying to make sure that every frame in my film looks like a painting. That's my goal, I want it to look like a painting, and I want you to be able to see where I am and everything. And if I really, really want you to just pay attention to what I'm saying, then maybe I'll go to f2.8, or, I'll break out my Minolta lens and go to f1.4 or something like that, if I want to just focus like one eyeball or something like that. But, oh, here's somebody. Hold on one sec, I'm about to get thrown out of here. Oh, no, I'm not. They're just backing up because they were going the wrong way. So anyway, that, working with focus in that way, like, being able to grab focus real quickly. A lot of the times I just use my focus peaking, and I was able to nail my focus throughout the whole day with no problem at all. Like it was not an issue. And, I had some close-up kind of stuff that I wanted to, blur out the background, but I didn't even have to change the aperture, because I'm talking about like when I, get close-ups of my hands or my feet, or, some kind of, subject that I'm using in the frame. You don't really have to use a fast aperture for that, as long as the camera is close, and I can get pretty close with this lens. And so, man, I got to tell you, I love this camera so much. I put it through its paces hard over the last couple of days. Battery life, like the first day I got out there, it was kind of frazzled a little bit. And so I went through 3 batteries in about 6 or 7 hours, but I shot a lot of footage, like I'm shooting in 4K, and I shot easily over 100 gig that day. This light is going up and down, so I apologize. But the second day, I shot almost the same amount, but I knew exactly what I was doing, and I was working much faster, and I went through 2 batteries. So I didn't have to connect anything to the S5, like no external battery, no external monitor. I didn't use the microphone. I used the internal microphone on the camera, and it sounded great. And but I mean, not for my dialogue. For my dialogue, I used the H1N, you know, the little audio device, and a lavalier mic. But just for the ambient sound, I just used what the camera has to offer, and it sounds awesome. And I was at a really incredibly loud location. Like, I'm talking crazy waterfalls and, you know, really turbulent, turbulent water, like really, really loud. And it just sounds really, really exactly the way I wanted it to sound. So anyway, I just wanted to come on here and share that, you know, I'm so grateful to have this camera. I feel like, you know, after having it since October, I feel like I finally have kind of initiated it into my workflow, and I'm just so, I feel lucky, you know, I feel lucky to have it. And most importantly, while I was shooting, while I was working, while I was being creative, and really thinking more about story than anything else, I was able to just work, and I didn't feel like I was, you know, the camera was getting in the way. And I think that's the most important thing. And I think the first day I was thinking more about it, but you know, since I have all my buttons set up and all my settings, and I could set my ISO and my white balance, and I'm using an ND filter, and you know, I have everything set. I know where everything is, all my settings. You know, I'm able to get around this camera so easily and just tell the story. Like, just make sure I have a nice storyboard and just set up my shots, get the best composition possible, and try to make everything look like a painting, like I said. And I guess what I learned is the one thing that I don't have to worry about, and once again the light rises for this moment, the one thing I did not have to worry about was the camera. It was so awesome, and it was rough out there. It was raining. I had to deal with, you know, cleaning off my lens a lot, and the camera didn't skip a beat. Like, everything was totally cool. Yeah, so if you have a Panasonic S5, if you have the original one, yo, you got a great camera as far as I'm concerned. If you have the S5 Mark II, you have an even better camera, you know, because you have a camera that has better autofocus. It's got 6K internal, this one doesn't. But, you know, I'm not shooting in 6K, so it doesn't make a difference to me. I have a Ninja V, so I just didn't feel the need to use it. Like, I know a lot of people hate this monitor. I could see perfectly well. Like, the monitor was fine. I mean, maybe because it was cloudy, and, you know, it wasn't like an incredibly, like, extremely bright day, but I was able to see everything on the monitor, no problem. And, you know, I need reading glasses, but I didn't even have my glasses with me. Like, I could just see everything. And when I got home, and, you know, I was praying, like, please, God, you know, let me put this into DaVinci Resolve and let it look the way I think it looks. And so I think at the end of the day, this is probably the #1 thing that I got out of it. And this is what I was, you know, really lucky to have with, first of all, with my phone when I shot my first film. You know, my LG V40, like, it got to the point with that phone where I knew no matter where I put the phone, no matter what I was shooting, I knew what it was going to look like when I got home. Like, it didn't, you know, like, before I uploaded anything, I knew what that image was going to look like, what that video was going to look like. And I got to the same point with the Sony a6400. Like, I could shoot that thing anywhere, at any focal length, and I knew what it was going to look like because I was confident in what I was doing with that camera. And I guess making YouTube videos and just practicing for the past 6 months, I guess, right? I guess I didn't really feel confident because I didn't feel like anything was really at stake, I guess. You know, like, if I screwed something up, I could just redo it. But for this, I knew I had one day, and I knew that to get things to look the way I wanted them to look, here goes the light again, to get it, you know, it's funny, my waveform, I'm looking at it, it's going, so anyway, to get everything the way I wanted it to look, I knew I had one day, so I was feeling the pressure. So I am so happy to say that it's gotten to the point where I know when I'm shooting with this, I know what it's going to look like. Like, I know if something is, like, incredibly challenging in terms of dynamic range, that it's going to be incredibly challenging even when I get it into my software. Like, it's something that I'm going to have to deal with and make compromises in the image, but I know what it's going to look like. And on a day like yesterday, where it was kind of cloudy and everything was pretty easy to expose, I knew exactly what it was going to look like. And when I got home and I put everything into the computer, I was correct. So thank you for that, universe, and I guess all my hard work and my dedication to practicing every day and trying to get better. And I feel like I'm getting better and better every day, and I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful for all the YouTubers who have given me so much help, you know, during this process that they don't even know about. And, you know, I still know that I have like miles and miles and miles and continents to go in terms of my filmmaking, but I know that I'm at a point now where I could do some great work. And, you know, this phase of my journey of learning is behind me now, and I'm on to the next phase, which is the next higher level, and I look forward to it, you know? Like, I actually understand what Gerald Undone is saying all the time now. Well, maybe not all the time, but most of the time. So anyway, just want to drop in real quick. Sorry for the light going up and down, you know, that's what it is sometimes, and see you again next time. Peace.